the girls. And have we got news for you?
Promising Young Woman is a film by Emerald Fennell. It stars Kerry Mulligan, Bo Burnham, Laverne Cox, Clancy Brown, Alfred Molina, Jennifer Coolidge. So many great people in this, and I respect some of the actors being willing to play these very abhorrent characters. Because for those who maybe haven't seen the film itself, it does deal with certain types of abuse, and I am obviously going to have to briefly refer to them at times. I don't like going into it in depth, obviously for everyone's protection, but just be aware that that is a part of this whole piece. But this was one of those where, when I watched it years ago originally, I watched it again for this video, and both times that opening scene just gave me chills. The moment Kerry Mulligan just looks, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm aware. It does an interesting sort of flip of the script, as it were. We've probably heard tales of, the story of, oh, she was into it and then she changed her mind, that kind of idea. And it's often in these situations, perhaps like the drunkenness starts to wear off and the reality sets in and they want to stop, and sometimes that's not listened to. But flipping that now with Adam Brody's character stood there just like, whoa, what's going on here? I immediately felt that connection. I understood that flip, and I appreciate it. This is again one of those films I can't say I enjoyed because of the subject matter, but it did engage me, it did make me think about things, and it did make me look at how we as a society handle this kind of issue. There's so many situations where people aren't believed and it turns out to be true. Obviously the opposite does happen. People are, are not or are believed and it wasn't true, and obviously that causes harm to the alleged person who did the thing. There needs to be a middle ground, I think, is clear here. And this film isn't saying, 100% believe one way or the other. I don't believe that's its message. I think it agrees. Like, we need to look at the nuance here, because there's a lot of reasons people might not report. There's a lot of reasons people might want to make allegations that are untrue, to remove people of power that they disagree with, that kind of thing. So I'm not saying, believe everyone. I'm not saying disbelieve everyone. I'm saying we still need to figure out how we approach the belief aspect, especially if it is, an historical one that they just can't hold on to, or just can't keep hidden anymore. They need to do this. That's where it becomes difficult. But this isn't what this video is for. I'm not here for that purpose. It's just, obviously, again, it's part of the discussion around this piece. But from the start, there's a lot of good building of what happened without necessarily slapping you in the face with it. It's slowly teased out over time why she's doing these things and what's given this motivation to hunt out these awful people and to play them at their own game in a way, to kind of be like, oh, you were playing it one way but you're suddenly pivoted to, I can take advantage of this. Why is it bad to you when I do it? This is how it feels. And again, that is revenge. It's not justice, even though she feels it may be. We are all the heroes of our own stories. But there's so much layered texture to this as well. There's, like I say, the nuances. The fact that when she goes to see Alfred Molina, it's like, you, as a lawyer, hid this and was ready to do whatever. We know when she got outside, she had a guy waiting and he was like, do I go in now? No. She understood, and I love that humanity. She isn't just solely driven by the revenge. There is an element of justice there. It's downplayed a lot, but when she can actually see that someone is repentant, someone is suffering because of what they've done, they didn't get off scot-free then, so why does she need to punish them further? I do like that level of her character, but the fact that she goes there and he's like, no, I expected this, I was waiting for this day, and she just listens to him. She lets him kind of explain that it was the job. I felt bad about doing these kind of things. It's why I'm not doing it anymore. It's why I'm kind of a recluse. And the fact she trusts him for the thing at the end, I think shows that yes, it wasn't just a lip service kind of thing. Like, yeah, I guess I'll forgive you. I won't send in my hitman. It's okay. I trust you. You understand. I know that the scene with the Dean is kind of controversial in some ways, because even me thinking about it, I'm like, I've struggled with how to phrase it, because it's often seen as, women should believe women. If someone comes to you as another woman and says they've had this experience, you believe them. But again, there's nuance, there's political reasons for both elements here. And the fact of the matter is, the Dean is a woman in this, yes, and in a position of power. women in positions of power, it's still a minority as far as I'm aware. It's not as common as it should be. It's not on an even keel. There might be reasons for that, of course, but women in positions of power still have to strive twice as hard to be taken half as seriously in certain fields. I don't know much about the field of American academia specifically, but I can imagine it is very competitive, so to rise as a woman obviously means she did well. And she doesn't want to rock the boat. If she, supported Nina all the way through, believed her, and it was found out to be untrue, her position would have been probably untenable at that point. She'd have lost her role. And she'd have been very much slated. She probably would have never worked in the cinema field again. Not that I'm saying I agree entirely with how it's played out in the film, but again, that's what this is making us do. It's making us appreciate the nuance. Actually kind of saying, yes, she maybe could have done more, but I understand why she didn't. You can hold different viewpoints, but you can understand other viewpoints to your own. And that's what I love about this. There is so much here. Even going back to the Alfred Molina thing, she talks to him and he's like, he doesn't sleep. And there's a few scenes where it's clear that she doesn't either. We're never told. I don't think she ever says, I don't sleep. But we see her up like late at night making the lists and doing all the research. We see that, it looks like she's barely slept in her bed. It's, all these kind of things. Working in a coffee shop probably helps with this. So there's all these different elements that are just hidden in the background as much as anything. I mean, one of the things that I am aware of in the second viewing is the Emerald Fennell cameo. She actually plays the beauty vlogger, because I hadn't seen Call the Midwife before watching it the first time, but in the interim I have. So now I'm like, wait, Nurse Patsy Mount made this, and Saltburn, which we'll be talking about next week. I'm very worried about this woman. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff hidden underneath the surface, and I thought, that's one of the lighter versions, but of course, yeah, there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of stuff to really give you food for thought, and think about how we as a society deal with these issues. I can't end this video, of course, without talking about Bo Burnham. I've loved Bo Burnham for years. I've actually got a cover of All Eyes on Me that I've done on my other channel, which I'll probably do a better version of and release a full cover on Spotify at some point without the spoken bit. But either way, Bo Burnham is one of those people I really appreciate, and the fact that if you look at his career, there's almost this kind of meta element of how he's deconstructing being famous and doing comedy and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate this guy, and the fact that he was willing to take a role where he's maybe not the best dude. I mean, he's a paediatrician, great, but he still filmed this. And you feel it when Cassie is made aware of this. You feel that crush, because you spent this time now getting to know Ryan and liking him, and if you're a fan of Bo Burnham, loving the fact that he seems to be allowed to sort of be a bit himself. There's probably some ad-lib permission here, as it were. But it is suddenly that moment of, oh, okay, we now know something different. So I respect that. But to end on a very light note, but keeping it on Bo Burnham, I love the whole scene where they're singing Paris Hilton. I now kind of possibly unironically like the song, but I also think it sounds a lot similar to the song Kingston Town by UB40, and that's what my justification is for liking a Paris Hilton song. So yeah, Promising Young Woman is not a comfortable watch, but it is engaging. It does what it needs to do. It makes you uncomfortable for a reason. It makes you question what went on, why people did what they did, why it was treated the way it was. It makes you sit there and understand that, and sometimes, yeah, have a laugh through it, but really, yeah, go away and try to help society be better in these circumstances. But like I say, I promised Saltburn a few minutes ago, and yes, that will be next week's video. I will probably break tradition in some ways, but you'll have to tune in for that. So thank you very much for letting me talk about this, and until next time, as always, take care.